Before you enjoy part 2 of episode 48, we wanted to let you know that we didn't tell all the things about Daryl at the beginning of this episode, so it may not make sense. But go back and check out part 1, and it details who Daryl is and why we got him on the show. We hope you enjoy it.
I said, Shane, when he gets to that deer, take off.
And your mind's like it goes in slow motion. A bear, a Black Panther, something jumped up and hit me.
Daryl, obviously explosions and explosive technician and all of that's got to be a very stressful occupation. So, I mean, what did you do to relieve some of that stress? I mean, how did you get through that from a day to day?
Well, you know what? My life, my interest and hobby, my greatest hobby naturally was hunting, like a lot of people's was. So that was my stress relief. You know. Yeah. You know, we'll tell this story. Hang on. You know, we already know the hat thing, right?
Oh, we got another hat coming on.
Huh?
We got another hat.
Change the hat. Yeah,
got the honesty hat off.
And this is the
now we're on the 50-50.
stretching it a little.
This is the stretching it a little bit.
Is this stretching or hiding? Maybe.
Okay.
But anyway, I was overseeing some mines on Gulf State Paper Company property, and this was down in north of Tuscaloosa, between Tuscaloosa and Oakman, and we had a parts guy. He ran parts for us, and trying to paint you a picture of these mines. You drove out of these mines in a long dirt road, and you would come up on this hill, and you could see the mining area where we had mined, and then you could see the drag lines running and everything. So this parts guy kept noticing this monster buck. He would come out on this reclamation, an area we'd already mined, and he was saying to me to come back and tell me about it, you know. And for the life of me, I couldn't see this buck, you know. Every time I'd drive over there, it wasn't there. So I was questioning, is he really seeing? But I knew they was there. And so Niles Graham, he was a retired guy from ATF. And he was chief of security for Gulf State Paper Corporation. And I was down there going over something because right behind and part of our mine area was what they referred to as their 10,000-acre private turkey hunting reserve. John Warner himself hunted this property, and that was the son. And anyway, I was in a meeting with Niles Graham down there about security, people coming in and out of the gates and stuff, because they were all lock and key. And every day there was foresters, there was wardens, their own private wardens going through there. So you didn't do anything out of line. I mean, so, you know, me and Niles and become good friends, you know, and I'm glad I did. And because there's other stories, the reason I'm glad I did come. But anyway, so this buck was on Gulf State property, and it was right on the edge of the turkey hunting reserve. And did I have permission to hunt it? No. But yeah. So I remember this day, that parts guy said, look, this buck has been out there the last 3 evenings chasing them does. And I would see the does. And I guess by some chance I didn't get to see him. So I thought, well, he's not going to be with those does long. So I'm going to get him. I'm taking him out. So I get the crew started and for the night shift. So I said, don't let anybody come out on that end of the pit today. And so, wait a minute. I left out one vital part of the story. Niles, while he was telling that, he had asked me in that meeting, he wanted to send some of their photographers out there. And they wanted to they had big stuffed deer, huge deer and does, and they'd put them out there and they'd take pictures. That way they got a great picture of that reclamation where they could put it in that office down there. I thought, sure, anytime you want to come up there, just tell them, let me know, whatever. So this was like on a Monday or something. They said, I completely forgot about them coming out there, saying it's going to come out there. So this is where it all goes south. So, but anyway, so the parts guy's seeing this buck. And this is the area where they're going on that reclamation. So I said, I got them crew started that day. I said, nobody comes out on the end of this thing. So I drive around. I have to go on the reserve because I had keys. I go on the reserve and I come in on the backside. So I go down there and there's this big old mound right on the edge of where we had mined to. It's this big long leaf pines. And you know how thick the pine straw. So there's this mound of dirt. So I thought, well, this is my viewpoint. So I climbed up on this mound of dirt and it was covered in this real thick pine straw. So I had my rifle and scope laying there, and I was just overlooking that, and I had a good, 100, 200-yard shot out there. I thought, this is the day.
The day's the day.
So I could see parts of the mine, part of it couldn't, but the road coming into reclamation, it just kind of went up some little hills and stuff. And I remember I sat there and the sun was beaming down on me and it felt so good. It was cold. And there was a flock of turkeys come out there and I was watching them. I had my scope turned up on 12 power and I was scanning everything. And somehow or another, I fell asleep.
Take your little nap.
I did. The sun put me asleep. So that pine straw, I didn't know when I slept. I just kind of slid down the hill. Well, my rifle was still laying up there on top of that hump. And so when I woke up, it was starting to get close to dark. And I thought, So I climbed back up that hump in there and I get a rifle and I'm just looking at it. And I thought, the turkey's gone. Something on the turkey's off. So I went into frantic. I thought, he's out there with his doe. And I looked and then I started sweeping the field. About that time, I seen a couple of does and my heart started beating. And all of a sudden, in the edge of the scope, swelled up on 12 fire. I don't see everything that's out there. There's this magnificent buck. Oh, my heart was beating out of my chest.
Yeah.
I flipped the safety off, and just about the time I was fixing to pull the trigger, I caught a movement in my left eye. Here's this guy squatted down with the camera.
Oh, my goodness.
It was so
man.
close. If I would have pulled that trigger to blow that stuffed deer all to pieces right in front of, and I would have lost my job. Of course, the truth
That
is,
wasn't even the real buck. That was a stuffed
that
buck.
I forgot about him coming out there. Why I fell
They
asleep.
had set up and everything while you were
While I
sound
was
asleep.
asleep, they set that whole thing up because it didn't take them long. But they was going to make that picture. I thought, I went. That was like, lightning hit me. I thought,
Man.
I was just a fraction away from pulling that trigger.
Safety was off.
Safety was off. I was fixing to drop it. I just happened to
Wow.
catch the movement. Now, if my scope would have been on like 4 fire or something, I'd have seen that whole thing.
But all you saw was...
Yeah, and after that, I even thought, and you'll find this funny because a lot of people train the people to look through a scope with both eyes open. I was a one-eye guy, so I'm sitting here looking.
One eye. All I can see was the scope
and I just
view.
sweeping, and then that's when I seen that buck. It was you stopped right then because
There he is.
there it is. So
They was.
I thought about what would have I really done if I'd pulled that trigger. I can tell you what I would have done.
Run.
I've
Never seen you again, would they?
No, but the problem would be they would have had video cameras. Yeah, I had them set off at all them gates of me going through there.
So what did you do after that? How did you get out of there?
Well, I just basically backed because I come in on a different road. I just backed out. But I'm telling you, it scared me to death.
You have any game warden stories you could tell us? Phil said he's never even been checked. You believe that?
I've been checked on the water once or twice. I've never been checked with a rifle in my hand.
I've had some encounters.
While you're thinking, let me tell this one. And
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know you got some.
We're gonna change the name to protect the innocent, right? Okay.
I like that.
Do that.
When I was about 13 years old, I had some.
Do you want the ski mask?
I do probably need the ski. Now this one, I could wear the honesty hat on this one because this is all honest. This is honest telling. But you know my family history. I've got some family that were known in these parts
Oh yeah.
of their outlaw tendencies, let's just say, okay? Well, one night, and my mom, it was so bad, my mom wouldn't let me go off with some of them because she was afraid I was going to get...
You're going to be in the pokey
I
too.
was going to be in... Clifford, I'm in the pokey, right? Afraid I was going to end up in the pokey. However, this night, the preacher at the time, our preacher, was going with us. So it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, it's all cool.
Little does my mom know at that time that our own preacher was, because here's the deal. The way they hunted, they didn't really see anything wrong with it, right? They didn't. What's wrong with it? But it was against the law to do it that way. We'll just leave it at that. Well, that night I was with, I'm going to call him Calvin, okay?
Okay, I was wondering what the hokey name was going to be.
I'm with Calvin and
Uncle Calvin.
Preacher, okay? I'm with Calvin and I'm with Preacher. But they knew enough about my mom to know not to do anything that was going to cause me to end up in the pokey. We went to the coves. And everybody knows in this part, if you're going to go see big deer at night,
Exactly.
you're going to go to the coves and see them. Okay. So we were, and this is 100% honest, we were doing nothing more than just riding roads to see deer.
What was
And at
stirring?
that time, it was legal without a gun.
That's
It was
right.
legal
You
to
can
spotlight.
you can ride the roads. Okay. So we were going to the coves, and we get to one spot where either you turn around here or you continue on. You probably aren't going to see anything past because at that time they were planting the coves in soybeans and corn,
Yeah, everything.
and there were just deer everywhere. Also, have to remember in Alabama when I was a kid, deer weren't that plentiful around here. They were just
And not like today.
they were a novelty. Like you went and see deer, and so it was just something to do in the evening. So we go and we turn up into this field, okay? And when we do, the headlights, and let me say that it was intentional to shine the field a little bit, right?
Yeah.
We did want to see what was out there, but we were turning around. When we turn into the field, we hit headlight to headlight with the game warden.
There it was.
Sitting there waiting. He just
Howdy,
waiting.
boys.
Just waiting on somebody to turn up in there. Blue lights come on. My immediate thought is, I'm going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's the night. My mom is going to kill me. Not only me, but also Calvin and Preacher.
And the
right?
preacher.
So we're going to be, without a preacher at the church, we're going to be 2 less family members because we all going to die. So blue lights come on. Preacher stops. He's driving. Preacher stops. And the game warden comes over to the microphone. And he said, driver, throw the keys out on the ground. So preacher turns the truck off, throws the keys out on down.
Calvin.
He said, driver, get out of the vehicle. Driver gets out, preacher gets out of the vehicle. This is where it gets interesting. He said, Calvin, get out of the truck. I said, oh my goodness.
By name.
He's called him by name.
Knew
right?
exactly who it was.
So I said, we going to, if he knows who's in this vehicle, we going to jail. So Calvin gets out of the truck, goes to the front. Then he comes to me, and my heart's beating out of my chest. I'm 13 years old. This is my first experience with the game warden.
First and worst.
My first trip to prison.
The first time I'm going to jail, right? So game warden tells me, gets out. I get out. We all go, put our hands on the front of the hood. We're standing there. He's tearing the truck apart, looking for what? A gun and a spotlight, right? All of those things.
Was this after Spotlight?
This was after spotlighting. Okay. Actual spotlighting had been outlawed.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's tearing it apart. And I'm just sitting there staring at Calvin and preacher like, what do we do? Right. So he's tearing it apart and he starts hollering, I got a gun. I found a gun. I found a gun. I said, oh my goodness, surely not. There's no way. He comes out. He's got preacher's daughter's Red Ryder BB gun in his hand.
Oh, no.
He sure does. Red Ryder BB gun. And of course, he was just giving us a hard time at that point in time.
Ooh, but still, I know those hearts
That's
sunk.
right. Everybody's heart sunk because, think about how many times you drive down the road and you got your 22 or something underneath the seat and you just forget it's even back there, right? So, long story short, he said, y'all boys need to find somewhere else to be tonight and y'all need to do it quickly, right? And
so now that we know that you're here, we can absolutely
now
do that.
that we know that you're here in the
Calvin
coast.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got home. Needless to say, my mom did not allow me to go back on any more trips with Preacher and Calvin looking for deer in the
that
coast.
could have been ugly. That could have been ugly.
Real fast. To fill up. While we're sitting here talking, do you remember the night
Uh-oh.
at
Here we go.
Mama's?
Which time?
The night that... No, you get the honesty hat. The night that Amos shot the deer out of Mama's yard.
Forgot about that.
I have no...
Wait a minute.
Daryl.
He wasn't remembering a while ago.
But we didn't do this.
No,
This was
this is-
you tell this. Tell Daryl about that night.
Please tell me this.
So we'd been coon hunting, I think. So we'd been coon hunting. We was already back pretty early. It was probably around, I'm going to say 10 o'clock. So we were already back home, and all of a sudden we hear, boom! I mean, just, we didn't live but 300 yards from Mama's house across the pasture. And I look at Shane. Shane looked at me. I said, that was close. And about that time, Mama called, somebody's done shot right here by the house. So I said,
by the house.
I said, okay. We knew Amos had been spotlighting around through there anyway.
This Amos Moses?
Amos Moses.
Okay.
So what we did is I said, we can't drive the truck over there. We'll blow our cover. So we just took off. We had our coon lights on, waders. I mean, we definitely been coon hunting. Yeah, because we had everything on. So we take off 300 yards across the pasture. And what we did is Mama, right up from where we saw the deer. Deer's dead in the pan. We just smoked that deer.
And they had taken off.
Yeah, they shot and left, which is a mistake. If you're going to shoot, get it and then go. I think maybe I shouldn't say that. But anyway, that's the best thing that give me that ski mask. All right, so Mama, right up from that, because it's in her yard. I mean, this is right at the bottom of her yard. So we hide behind the propane tank. She had a big propane tank. So we're sitting there hiding. It's me and you and Dwight. I think Dwight had joined the party. Who's my uncle, so he joined the party.
And what did he have?
I think he had the pistola.
He had the pistola.
We didn't have any guns. We just wanted to do a little rib bruising's all we wanted to do. So anyway, we're sitting there, and it's been 5 minutes.
Maybe.
At that time, we hear... and they're creeping. The muffler's blown out on old box S10.
S10, yeah.
So they're creeping across the road, and we're sitting there, got our head, we're just watching. And then they slow down. I said, Shane, that's them. I said, they've already come back, and we're here. Well, I said, we're sitting there. We don't, it's tactical at this time.
Yeah.
You're going into instinct.
That's
mode.
right.
Well, we see they had killed the headlight or the cab light. So they open the door, and I see him. He looks one way, looks the other, and he's at the field. And I said, Shane, when he gets to that deer, take off. Sure enough, he went right out there. But here's something I got to talk about right before the next part. You wouldn't know this unless you had bush hog down there. There was a huge gully washout right next to the road. You couldn't see it because just like the red story, the pasture grass, I just always cut it even, so you couldn't see it. Well, he's out there.
Camouflage.
He's out there, 40 yards?
Yeah.
He's 40 yards.
Away from the truck.
The minute he grabs the back leg of that doe, I said, go get him. So we're taking off. I mean, we're running as hard, and we're downhill. So it's downhill to us. We're running as hard as we can. And right when we get close, the passenger in the middle, there's 3 of them in that S10, the passenger in the middle sees us, and you can just see his eyes. He just starts screaming, Amos, get in the car, get in the car. Well, he's got that deer. He looks up, and it's almost too late. He drops the deer. He takes off running, and, we're still probably 10 yards from him at this time. He hits that gully, smash face first into that. But I want to tell you, his legs never kept turning. His face was on the ground, his legs kept turning. They get him, and he crawls up to the thing, and they grab him, and they take off, and they're pulling him in the car in reverse, and we're still running.
As hard as
That
we could get it.
adrenaline's amazing.
I didn't know a S10 could travel that fast in reverse.
Well, it can when it's going 6,000 RPMs. I don't know how it didn't blow up.
I have no idea. And then what's Dwight doing behind us when we're running?
Pow, pow, pow. He's just firing
I'm
that
not worried
pistol.
about bringing all these different hats down here for.
I don't know, buddy.
I thought I was dealing with a couple of angles. I thought,
No.
my original thought, I thought, well, these guys, here they are. Nice, they got good, clean records. I'm a target. They're fixing to pick me up.
No, but here's what we did. So that's not the end of the story. So we catch our breath. We're standing there. Dwight's probably reloading his pistol.
Reloading his pistol.
And I said, well, they ain't coming back. But we got a nice little deer right here. So we just took
Skin it up.
went back to the house and skinned the deer, and we had a cooler full of deer meat.
But the crazy thing was, Daryl, is we knew exactly who it was that did it. Like, we knew exactly who it was. They're hollering out his name.
No shame
While
in the game.
they're
Get in the truck. Get in the truck.
and it wasn't like an S10 that you could hide. It was one of those with the white, with the red racing stripes down the middle. It's like, man,
With the rusted out muffler. This,
we found them within a day. We knew where they lived, knew exactly who it was.
over there by the railroad tracks. We went looking
That's
for them.
exactly right. Found them.
That's amazing. Why is that's when things was the funnest, when there was so much risk.
And it was so much fun. I can't explain to you how fun it was.
It was a rush. Yeah.
It was an absolute adrenaline rush running across that field.
But if you think about that, those stories that you read about these people who eluded wardens all these years, that's what it was all about.
Yeah,
it's the thrill. It's just the thrill of it.
It is. And some of your kin folks, some of your kin, that's what fueled them. It was that getting out at night and all that being chased.
Well, I've got kin folks that who are in the grave now. I mean, most of them are. They would go down south.
Yeah.
And if I could tell the stories of them, what happened and how it happened, and you would not believe.
I heard a bunch of those
Stories that they would tell. And I'm talking about, I could write books about it. Just insane stories. But again, if it was a cat and mouse thing, right? And if the game warden did catch them, it wasn't like it is nowadays, to where they take your gun, they take your truck, they take your license, it was literally cat and mouse. They would go down there just to see if they could outwit the game warden.
So I hunted down close to York, Alabama, which is right before you get across the line going out 59 towards Mississippi. So we were out there at the hunting camp we lived in. Was a 100-year-old house. We barely had power in it. So we'd have TV, nothing. So once we were through hunting and through eating,
wilderness,
you're either sitting there staring at one another,
or you going looking for deer.
Are you going looking for deer?
That's right.
So we got, as we always did, just got loaded up 4 deep in a truck. And we're riding around, and we're headed down this notorious road. I always see a buck on this road, so we're just easing down through there. And right down is a long straightaway. And right down in the middle of that, we see a eye, yellow. You know how like when light hits a deer's eye, it turns yellow. And it was blinking. And I said, "Oh, there he is. There he is." I said, "He's So we get it. We just easing on up there. Well, where the blinking was, there's nothing standing there, but we could see just the corner of the headlight. We could see some deer right there, but they didn't move. Mm-hmm. And we never stopped. Mm-hmm. Never stopped. We kept rolling. That's all legal, the light, no spotlights, nothing. And I looked and I said, "I think those are fake deer." And my buddy that's with me said, "It's a game. He done set a trap. He said, I guarantee he's sitting right up there, right where the wood, there's a cut in up here. Keep driving. So we went down it was personal now. He took it personal.
Will check,
and you know who it is that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So we're easing down through there. Sure enough, there's a green Jeep or Blazer, whatever it was, sitting in this. He said, "All right, I know what we're going to do. Turn around. Go up there and turn around." And I'm thinking, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. But the good news is we didn't have a rifle in the truck, so I thought, the worst thing, So he go up there and turns around, and he says, "All right." He said, "When we get up there by that thing," he said, "we're going to roll down all 4 windows. We're going to turn that radio up as loud as we can, and we're going to hoop and holler, and we're going to let that game warden know exactly what we think about this." So we drove around, come back. Well, as soon as we're coming back, guess what's down there blinking again?
Oh,
that little yellow eye, that little catch your eye was down there blinking. And he starts rolling down those windows, turns that radio up as loud as it'll go. I mean, it'll make your ears bleed in there. And he just screaming out at those deer and hollering everything else, says a few things to the game warden that I don't know that he ever heard. And I said, let's just go. Let's go. So anyway, and he just laughed to scorn. He thought that was the greatest thing that ever happened. I got that game warden trying to get up. But I want to tell you, we did see the buck on the way back because it was on the other side of the road and the headlights hit it. It was not a buck. I mean, they put a good one out there.
They want you to shoot him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here to tell you.
It's a Troutman. Yeah. I've got one that I actually had to stop him from shooting. I thought there's something wrong. That buck should not be.
The Lord. Hey, here's the Lord again.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Because the warden told me later, he said, "Almost got y'all."
I
wasn't the one shooting.
Well, tell it. Just tell it. Can you tell it?
Well, yeah.
Go ahead and tell it.
I won't use names. I won't.
That's right.
But
me and a buddy.
Me and Ralph.
There you go.
And but we was actually coming out of Wins Cove. And they was set up for you killed that deer. There was no elk pen there. Mm-hmm. And so we come around through there, and I'm driving, so I'm on the left side. And Ralph over here, And
Ralph on the right, roll right,
he
Ralph.
pulled, he just said, "Whoa, whoa!" And I hadn't even looked, and so I stopped. Like I didn't really know what "whoa" meant at the time. And then I looked to the left. I thought, "Holy moly!"
See what whoa
He's
meant.
a
He
good
throws a gun right across my body, and he's out the window. And I said, I heard him flip the safety, and I thought, hey, no, there's something wrong.
No.
I said, don't shoot it. And so he pulls the gun back in, and he said, why? He said, he would have been gone if he was real. There was no way.
There ain't no way a buck that size gonna sit there and look at you.
Yeah, and it was a setup, but that's the only one I actually run into.
Yeah.
And but back I was thinking about you talking about Spotlight back then, and this was legal. Me and Bert Swan.
Yeah.
This was something. It was kind of like with this. You got to have something to do at night. It got dark at 5 o'clock, so we basically almost every night we'd go through Skyball. We had our little route. And go through with the Spotlight. There's no harm in it. It was legal, and so we'd come back through the backside of Gwynn's Cove. Spot all those fields. We'd finish our trip coming back down Hog Mountain, taking that Spotlight, knocking the lights out of the what do you call it, the booger lights. We always
Oh, Dust to Dawn.
Dust to Dawn.
Yeah, you could hit it and they'd hit that electronic eye and you'd knock them out like shooting with a gun. It was so fun. Bert had hit every one of those.
That's somebody's gonna do that.
Somebody's gonna do that.
Somebody that didn't know.
Oh yeah, we could a new trend. But we was coming through Gwynn's Cove in that big field where we always call it the feeder field because it was an old meter feeder. It was one of the bigger fields there. But right up in the back end, huge buck. Bert spotlights that thing. He said, "Look at this one," and I was like, "Whoa!" And it just kept standing there. It was kind of unusual, and it wasn't a buck; it was a real deer. So I thought, "Wow, I wonder how long he's standing there." So we got the idea. He said, "Well, hold the light on." I said, "I'm gonna see how close I can get to him. I wanted a better look." Yeah.
How far is it?
That was a long ways. It was 253 yards. But you can see, there was some big, when those soybeans was being planted there, it was
Big
getting
deer.
all they needed. There was some huge bucks. Trust me, we flew over that thing with a helicopter so many times. We got them up. Seen tremendous buck. But anyway, so he said, "Well, I want to see how close I can get to him." So in complete darkness, he sits there on the side of the road in the truck, and I loop around. I knew they was there. Of course, it wasn't anywhere on my mind, but there was somebody's horses was loose in there. And they'd been loose in there. You'd see them everywhere all over that cove. And so I'm going around the edge of the field, and I'm getting up like halfway. This rack's looking better. This deer's just standing there locked down. I guess because we was so far away. But about that time, this humongous noise, and I felt fur hit me. I run right up on one of them horses and bedded down. And, and your mind's like it goes in slow motion. A bear, a Black Panther, something jumped up and hit me. And it made this grunting noise.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I finally run a 4.240.
You left there, didn't you?
Back to that truck.
Absolutely.
Bert, he heard all the noise and the commotion, so he throws a light on. He said, "I've never lied so hard in my life." He's running into stuff. He was blinding me with that spotlight. And that horse was taking off back toward those deer.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was fun. But we done that 4 or 5 nights a week. It was just something to do. It was kind of like you said, you was in South Alabama. I guess there's a lot more to do.
No
there.
harm, no foul.
I thought, you know what? I've been really blessed in life.
Yeah, the good Lord's been good to all of us. And
Yes. Are you kidding? There's things that I've, the close calls, yeah. And y'all.
All those shoulder taps we've been talking about that you've had. I think he has been good to you.
Yeah.
good letting you know.
Well, Dale, I want to say this, buddy. You have blessed me. I'm gonna have some sore abs tomorrow, man. These stories are so good.
You guys are what's great. I mean, y'all put this together, but I'm a victim.
You are a victim.
I'm a victim.
Daryl told me today, Philip, because I've been on him quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah. I've been telling you, stay on him.
And he said, who was it told you? Said, you might as well just give in to him because he ain't going to let up.
He's like you trying to get a job from Mr.
Scott
Reed.
Grant said,
Oh,
"If
Scott,
you just want
yeah.
to give up, they're not going to let up."
They ain't going to give up.
No, but I think what y'all do is great.
Well,
I
thanks.
mean, this is good. Where this thing goes, I have no clue.
That's
But,
right.
Nobody
my
does.
hat's off to you guys. I mean, y'all doing a great job with it. This is something. This is a good part of life.
That's right.
To do it.
Well, thanks for being with us for sure.
Thank you for being with us, and I think we got another date. Unfortunately, you did so good. You're probably gonna get
Episode
a
two.
round
Episode
two.
two.
You know, I told him the other day. I said, I was a little nervous because of the way I was raised, and the things I had done, and I got out of the line a little bit.
Sure.
But I thought, you know what? They had Johnny Mills on here. He's still walking the streets.
Yeah, he did a great job too, buddy.
Yeah, Johnny is awesome. Johnny. Tremendous.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode 48, I think.
48.
It's going to be honest.
There you go.
Get the honest hat back on.
Get honest.
Well, we're going to tie it up. This is Hayden Alabama Podcast. I'm Philip.
I'm Shane.
Daryl.
We'll see you next time.